Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us here today at the graduation for the newest state of Nevada peace officers. I am Sergeant Sean Fleur, Academy Commander for the Nevada Department of Corrections Employee Management Division here in Carson City. At this time, I would like to ask everyone to please stand, remove their hats for the posting of the colors, and remain standing for the national anthem sung by Correctional Officer Sidney Morris from Northern Nevada Correctional Center.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Order, armed.
Thank you, everyone. You may now be seated. Thank you, Officer Morse. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our graduating class.
Class, are you physically prepared to accept the duties of peace officer?
Sir, yes, sir!
Class, are you mentally prepared for the civil responsibilities as peace officer?
Sir, yes, sir!
Class, present, order. Order, order. All right, finish. Forward, march.
Senior Officer Zufelt, Senior Officer Arantes, Officer Kibbe, is this class prepared to become peace officers today?
Sergeant, this class is physically prepared. Sergeant, this class is mentally prepared.
Sergeant, this class is prepared.
Senior Zufelt, Senior Arantes, Officer Kibbe, I want to extend my sincere gratitude for your dedication, long hours, and unwavering commitment in preparing these cadets to become correctional officers. As this marks my first class as the Academy Commander, you have made this experience not only smooth, but truly rewarding. Throughout this journey, your professionalism, consistency, and passion for training have set the standard. You poured your time, energy, and expertise into shaping this group, and the results speak for themselves. You may now retire. Class, you may take your seats. It is now my honor to introduce our distinguished guests. NDOC Director James Arenda, Deputy Director of Programs Emily Testweed, Deputy Director of Support Services Kitty DeSocio, Deputy Director of Prison Industries William Quenga, Warden Nathania Breitenbach, Lovelock Correctional Center, Associate Warden Benu Clark, Northern Nevada Correctional Center. In front, we have Lieutenant Caitlin Malm, Employee Management Manager, Chad Venters, Sergeant Christopher Herzog, Caseworker Specialist 3, Holly Skolstad. And from Lakes Crossing, we have David Golish, Forensic Supervisor Keith Hewitt, Forensic Supervisor Hercules Ward. Thank you all for taking time out of your schedules to be here today. Graduation is more than just a ceremony. It's a powerful reminder of what can be achieved through perseverance and purpose. Class, each of you has faced your own set of challenges, some physical, some mental, some deeply personal. There were days when the weight of it all might have made you question yourself, but you didn't give up, you showed up, you pushed through, and you made the decision to better yourself. That commitment, that grit, is something that no one can ever take from you. Today is a milestone, but it is also a reflection of who you are, resilient, determined, and ready to serve with integrity. You're not just starting a job, you're stepping into a calling that demands strength, compassion, and accountability. My training staff and I have watched you grow, not just in skill, but in confidence and character. We are incredibly proud of each of you, and I know your family and friends are too. Over the past 10 weeks, these cadets have worked tirelessly to prove they can become peace officers in the great state of Nevada. They have studied laws and regulations that most people will never have to understand. They have learned to defend themselves and others utilizing defensive tactics and firearms, and to think critically under pressure, and to carry themselves with professionalism and pride. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Carrie Dyer for our Affirmation of Faith. Carrie Dyer is the chaplain at Northern Nevada Correctional Center.
Cadets, I just want to say congratulations. I've been where you're sitting. I understand the blood, sweat, and tears you put in. I don't want you to think that you're alone, though. My phone is always on the hook, and my door is always open. If you need help, just want to talk and get something off your chest, don't hold it in, come see me. So congratulations on all your hard work and this honor today. If you'd bow your heads, we'll pray. Father, I thank you for this group of graduates. Lord, the blood, sweat, and tears they put in. Lord, that this honor that they're getting today, I pray that you would bless them, keep them, shine your face upon them. Lord, give them wisdom and knowledge when they get into the situation that they need peace and calmness, Lord, that you would give them that wisdom and knowledge to handle that. I thank you for their family that's here today, Lord, that you know they will need their family support. I thank you for their family that's here to support them. Pray that you would bless their family as well. I thank you for the instructors, God, that have poured their blood, sweat, and tears in, and that you would just bless them for giving all their knowledge and wisdom to these cadets. We give you all praise and all glory today in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Dyer. At this time, I'm pleased to introduce you to our keynote speaker, John Osmond. John lives and practices law in Greenville, South Carolina. He is the former director of the South Carolina Department of Corrections, former Deputy Attorney General and Chief Prosecutor of the State Grand Jury, former General Counsel for the State for South Carolina Department of Labor Licensing and Regulation, and a former assistant solicitor. He's a veteran and retired as a commander in the U.S. Navy Reserve. His final military billet was as Reserve Legislative Counsel, Deputy Chief of Naval Operations for Readiness and Logistics. He served as chairman of the Staff Safety Committee for the American Correctional Association and of the Legal, Legislative and Policy Committee of the Correctional Leaders Association. He led CLA's national fight for cell phone interdiction technology and was instrumental in representing the association in negotiations on public policy regarding public policy responses to Prison Rape Elimination Act. John has testified numerous times in the South Carolina State House, on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., and other states across the nation. He has served on various boards and commissions, including the South Carolina Sentencing Reform Commission, the South Carolina Sentencing Reform Oversight Commission, 6 years on the Oliver Gospel Mission Board of Directors, the Board of Persevere, a national nonprofit focusing on preparing offenders for meaningful careers upon reentry, and the Board of Directors for the South Carolina Center for Fathers and Families. He currently serves on the boards of Jumpstart South Carolina, the largest, most successful reentry partner in South Carolina, and the Prison Seminaries Foundation. John is licensed to practice in South Carolina and Alabama and in federal courts at every level. In 2011, John received the state's highest honor, the Order of the Palmetto, which recognized his achievements and contributions to the state of South Carolina. South Carolina Lawyers Weekly awarded John the 2013 Leadership in Law Award. John served as lead counsel in Powell v. Key, convincing the South Carolina Supreme Court to rule that lifetime registration for all levels of sex offenders without a path off the registry is unconstitutional. In 2021, John received the Louis Wainwright Award, recognizing his outstanding contributions to the field of corrections by former corrections director. John and his wife, Luann, have 4 children, 5 grandchildren, with many more on the way. John and Luann attend church in Greenville. John is an average hog hunter, a decent yard man, and an occasional runner, having completed 6 marathons.
Thank y'all for having me.
I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn this a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, this isn't about you anymore. It's about these guys. All right? This one doesn't work. I think it does.
Yeah, this one.
Okay. Now I'll just stand. I'll stay in one place as best I can. Director, thank you for inviting me. Thank you all for having me. You did it, right? I mean, you're close. I mean, I look at these 3 cream puffs over here and I think, man, your last 8 weeks must have been easy. I mean, you can just look at those faces right there and know this was a cakewalk, wasn't it? 8 weeks and you're done. And now you're really sort of at the place where you end and begin, because there's no more familiarity tours. We call it on-the-job training. I was talking to your director this morning. But no more of that, no more of hiding behind, I can't do that, or that's not my job, or I'm not even allowed to do that. My goodness, be thankful you weren't doing your FAM tours in South Carolina, because we'd locked you in with 120 of South Carolina's finest as quick as we could get you on the unit. We're so short-staffed. Trained or not, you'd be in there, baby. Unfortunately, that was the reality for many of my years. But my sincere congratulations, not just for completing the 8 weeks, but for choosing a challenging profession. Right? I mean, you didn't take the easy way here. I saw this week, this guy had I think on the way down here, on the way out here. Did y'all see where the guy from South Korea has a 276 IQ? 276, supposedly the smartest man in the world. And so you're going to a difficult job. And I was reading the article about this guy, and I thought to myself, he started a club. He literally started a club for like really high IQ people. I'm sure it must be very small. And I'm not in it, and you're not in it. Now I can look at you and know you're not in it because of the job you just took, all right? Here's my claim to fame. I proved my stupidity early on. The 2 tours at the Pentagon drove me out of the Navy, and 8 years at corrections drove me out of state government completely, all right? But when I was considering the job, well, I wasn't considering the job at all. I had run for statewide office and failed miserably. Lost to our current governor. He ran for attorney general. I'll tell you how bad of a candidate I was. Our current governor, Henry McMaster, is the longest serving governor in the history of our state because he came in when Nikki Haley went to the State Department. Remember that? So he had 2 years free, and then he won 2 elections. But Henry had been a failed politician most of his life. He had run 3 or 4 times for office. He had been the chairman of our statewide Republican Party. But could never win an elected position. And the year I was running for attorney general, right at the end, a state senator dropped out over some past issues, and suddenly I'm going to be the next attorney general. For about 60 days, that was the case. And then on the last day of filing, then Henry McMaster, current Governor McMaster, decided, I can beat that guy. He's never been on a ballot before. And he gets in the race. I was such a bad candidate, he won his first political race, and he's never lost a race since. So when I introduce him at events, I tell people I made his career. All right. Let's go back to the genius. You're not that guy. I'm riding down, I'm sitting in my office, and I just agreed, I decided to leave state government after that failed campaign, and I was helping our then incoming governor pick some people to serve in his cabinet. And I was part of the law enforcement team, so there were about 5 of us, and he came from Washington. He had been our representative there, and he didn't know anybody. So we had gone through the state law enforcement division, our state police, and DNR, natural resources, and we were struggling with corrections, but we had contacted ACA, we had contacted other national organizations, we had about 5 or 6 people on a list, and we were about to call those down and then give him the top 3. So he calls me on the phone, and he's driving down the road, and this is back when you hear all the buzz. You knew he's in the car because you had the microphone up here, didn't have microphones built in. And he says, what about corrections? And I thought he was just being typically impatient. I said, look, boss, you know, we got some names. Give us some time. You asked me about it last week. Give me another 5 or 6 days, and we're going to get you a short list. And he said, no, I don't mean. He said, I mean you. And I said, excuse me? As Deputy Attorney General, I had, in the past 2 years, right before I ran for Attorney General, one of our public corruption cases involved the Department of Corrections. I indicted 28 people, convicted all of them, many of them seniors. So I was like persona non grata at the Department of Corrections. He thought that would be a good thing. I thought he was out of his mind. So they're riding down the road, and I said, Maura, I don't know, man. I just don't know if that's a good fit. I don't know if I can make, that's a square peg in a round hole. You probably just need to let us run the process, and you pick from somebody we choose. All right, now pay attention. You volunteered for these jobs. So his wife is in the background here in the car with him. We were having this conversation. And as soon as I said that, she said, Mark, you're wasting your time. He's not stupid enough to take that job. And my point of saying, I'm sure that I'm forward to say, I got to just remember, you volunteered, and I respect that. I'm gonna give you 6 things, and I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna be brief. I think you should laugh every day at yourself. I still get laughed at because of that conversation with the governor and the fact that by the time I get over to corrections, everybody on my staff knows it, and we work things out and make it work. But laugh Be willing to laugh. Laugh every day. You're gonna get to see and hear stuff, as you probably know, but you haven't been around long enough to see enough of, that's just funny, all right? And nobody else gets to see it. And you can't even tell your parents. Half the time you can't tell your parents, certainly can't tell your children about it, but it's funny stuff, all right? It's really, really funny stuff. So laugh every day, even if you have to laugh at yourself. Number two, these jobs, you know, I mean, both when I was prosecuting, working with law enforcement closely, and certainly in my years at corrections, all these folks know. You just want to go home safe at the end of the day. And literally, these folks in headquarters, they're sitting around 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night till everything's calmed down. They just want to they want to tick off another day where nothing bad happened. Because bad things are going to happen. So here's what I learned, and this wasn't just at corrections. In the Navy, it was counseling junior personnel. That was what I call eating a frog. And here's my rule. If you have to eat a frog, don't look at it too long. All right? It doesn't taste better later. It ain't gonna look any better later. Eat the frog first. So for me, that was, at corrections, man, that was, I had a lot of senior staff friction. Now, part of that was my fault because I liked it. But sometimes it'd get out of hand, and if I had to get somebody in line because they wouldn't play nice in the sandbox, I'd do it first thing in the morning. Because then I got hope, right? We might have a good day. I might leave here at 6 o'clock and nothing else bad has happened. And I ate the frog early, and if you eat the frog early, the way I went from being a marathoner to being a fat load than I am now is I love sugar. I love desserts. So I figure if you eat the frog first, whatever that thing is on your calendar that day that you know you have to do, or that week that you know you have to do, that you really don't have to do, that you really don't want to do it first. Because then everything else tastes like dessert. It's all dessert after that. And you're going to have a lot of good days in this job. Number 3, don't just wing it. Now, they just talked about somebody. You studied regulations and laws you didn't know existed. But you're going to forget them. You're not going to retain all that knowledge. Nobody can. I mean, the guy with the 270s, I got like 8 memory pegs. I can't imagine what a guy with a 276 IQ, how many memory pegs he has. But it's a lot more than 8. But for most of us, it's somewhere between 6 and 9, somewhere in there. That's about all we can hold. So you're not going to hold it all. Don't ever presume. Ask. All right? Don't wing it. Ask. When you wing it in this business, you get somebody, yourself and or worse, somebody else hurt. I can't tell you, as you progress in your careers, you get to be like the FAA. You ever notice in the FAA, after a plane goes down, what the FAA person says? Well, we suspect it's pilot error. Of all of the bad incidents I had in 8 years, we were 26,000 inmates. We were triple bunking at 80 square feet, cutting budgets, cutting staff. It was a mess. And of all the people that got hurt, 99% of them were what I call operator error. And out of that 99%, if you dig down, it's because instead of asking for help or asking for the proper procedure because you just didn't remember it, you're not completely sure what to do, they went ahead and did it anyway. And some other guy that you're supervising is having a bad day, and he takes advantage of that or she takes advantage of that. So always be willing to ask. Number 4, I was going to say listen, but I think asking and listening are wrapped up in this one. Be approachable. Let me tell you an ass story first, though. One brief story. Back when I was prosecuting crime, we did public corruption all over the state, and we had a bunch of school administrators and teachers, football coaches mostly, but senior school administrators, and they were stealing the school district blind to the tune of millions. And one of the ways they flat out took money, the administrators flat out took money, but one of the ways they shared the money with their buddies was they took these outrageous trips. They would create invoices to go to some school conference, and they would go to the Bahamas. And to make it even more outrageous, so I got like 9 or 10 football coaches indicted, 7 or 8 school administrators, all in this conspiracy. To make it even worse, and they were all men, they had found a call girl service. They would book the travel for the call girls. They would meet somewhere like after the first flight, so from Columbia to Atlanta, Greenville to Atlanta, they'd meet there. The call girls came from Greenville, believe it or not. Very conservative, God's country, but apparently a good place to find a call girl. So they would meet, and then they would hook up, and the coaches would wind up hooking up with the same girl every time. Well, I got to take this. I'm gonna have to try all these cases because they're going to say these were coaches' clinics. I mean, they all lawyered up, and then we were going to have to try them all. And I knew if I could put the coaches and the administrators with one of those women, they'd fold like cheap suits. I couldn't do it. This is before 9/11. Anybody could get on an airplane. I could take your ticket and get on an airplane back then. Y'all don't remember that, but some of us do. So I had to put the people together, and I'm racking my brain. I mean, I'm a pretty good lawyer, I thought, and I had a team of investigators, all men, and we're sitting in there racking our brains. And we didn't think to ask any of the female attorneys or female staff that work in our office. The guys on this team just happened to be all men working this particular case. And finally one night, a secretary, and we wasted months trying to figure out how we were going to nail down who went on what trip and who was with who. Kay Fasaro, a secretary, sits outside Pete Logan's office. Pete Logan he was a former FBI agent. He ran a man in claim, not a citizen. If you look at one of the targets, claims allegedly. I'm sitting in Pete's office, pulling my hair out. Hey, walks in, she sticks her head in. She says, "You all are going to punch you. Y'all are pulling your hair out. Why didn't you just ask me to make you prove who and where and who?" I said, "Okay, Kathy, you just know what all the time." She said, "Look, I know you're thinking that these call girls are just, that there's something different about them." And she said, what do your wives do? What do women do when they travel? Spend money? I don't know. They take pictures. They take pictures. Now all you have to do is ask. That's my point. All you have to do is ask. They take pictures. I said, sure, those idiots didn't allow these women that they're traveling and spending millions of dollars of taxpayer money. The places they're not even supposed to be going, doing things they're not supposed to do. Surely these guys didn't allow them to do that. So we called them out, and the lady that ran the call process, and we said, "Would you bring these pictures together?" We had she was a cooperating witness for us. So she comes in carrying 2 bottles. Had sent somebody out in the car to help carry her 2 bottles. Guess what? Photo albums. So from the photo album, okay, it helps. Except, you can't always show where and all that. So when you pull Pay pulls one of the photo albums. You know photo albums that have a few back there? Pull it back, took a picture of everyone in their time. Because we asked. Because we didn't just drive forward and keep going because we didn't ask, we had to wait. But once we asked, we found the answer. So don't be afraid to ask. Be approachable. Be approachable at work and be approachable at home. I remember, I think I've done pretty good. When I first took over the race, I had prosecuted over 1,000. Not 2,000, but over 1,000, not felony, large drug cases, all this stuff. And I just appointed a new warden, President Greenville, and I dropped up Columbia. We walked across the yard one day, and so I did a lot of my work in the upstate, in Greenville, in that area of the state. I'm just about to turn out for lunch, and I walk across the yard, they start turning units out for lunch, and people start calling lunch. I walk down the sidewalk, and I see this guy, and say, I'm so sorry, I don't remember your name. He's not my son, I'm so sorry. Yeah, he might be out somewhere in such and such from this. And I said, couldn't take another step. Somebody else come up to him, introduce himself again, and I apologized for not knowing who he was and his name. Finally, my boy was frustration. He said, we need to go to the other side of the way in town. I said, come to the prison and be like one of his family. So I took some consolation that I was a police approach. You can solve the problem by law. That you are. And it's not applies to work, that applies to teammates, that applies to inmates. Also applies, and this is probably more important than I thought about enough, probably addressing basic. This job that you volunteer for, because you're 1976 and I think it'll make you all yourself. So when you leave and you go home, not focus on the appropriate approach to work, certainly not going to be focused on the approach. So be approachable with the family. For me, different people do it different ways. Maybe 30 minutes, 30 minutes. I will kids, my wife, whatever it's PT. So I shift to PT in the morning. I felt like I needed PT as soon as I left that chair before I started interacting with my that little kid interacting with the property. And they met lifers and hunted and fished with lifers and did all kind of things that gave them memories for the rest of their life. But their daddy was caught up in it and needed time to decompress. So take that time, figure out what works for you and do it. But be approachable. And finally, and this has to do with being approachable as well. Don't forget God. You're going to stay as good as you can. Please don't be working with the team. Everybody's got a story. They don't have a story from here. They've got a story about that day as to why they're having it. So before you light up somebody, before you let somebody have it, just remember they've got a story. And if you'll take time to hear that story, it'll probably diffuse the situation anyway. And if it's staff, it'll probably preserve the relationship on the team. Just take time to ask, hey, what's going on? But everybody's got a story. Here's mine. I love the guy one time. He killed the guy and fixed it through the works, through the state, through. But he's also a big brother. We never have common brother all this out. I've been 25 years, just about nothing. I mean 25 hard years you got to serve every day. So we take him to court in this little small town. He is a bad dude. I mean, he made no. He testified, stood there, took it like a man, he was a gangbanger out of Charlotte, gang in Charlotte. He was a small town, and no operations. Series of small towns. I see him, so I prosecuted him, he's doing 25, I ain't taking up the correction, I see him on the hospital from time to time. Never approached me, I never sought him out. Looked him up a couple of times, wasn't doing great, causing trouble, so that went on. 6 years later, I'm about to leave, and I'm speaking at our seminary graduation. One of the graduations for our seminary program. Now, our seminary program is very selective. You got to be disciplinary free for 8 years. You got to basically, for the inmate, he's got to sign away all his rights, all his privileges, everything he's earned. Because when he's done with that program and he gets that 2-year degree, we're going to send him out not to work for himself, not to reach the program, to go out and help us change the culture inside of it. Now, I stand up and speak, and I see this guy running. I keep closing down. I finish my speech. All family members are doing everything. It's a big deal for them because their loved one is doing life. He's got a 2-year college degree, trying to go life, and it's emotional. It's emotional when the people come and talk. And I love it. And everybody's trying to call out this 2 ladies. His grandmother and his brother, he's standing there. He walks up to him and says, "Father, I'm so sorry.
He wasn't even graduated class, he was in the next. I didn't realize at the time, I didn't realize the TV that I was in for corrections, but I was shot somewhere along the way. So, all these guys, and gals, who are 65 now, have school. Stories don't like this. Some of them are. Some of the people you work with have already school. But when I went home, I was before you judge, everybody got school. One more thing. I've worked with street cops. I've been a street cop. I've worked with cops inside the fences. I know enough about the line and what we need. Don't ever, let your sense of order compromise your sense of order. What do you feel is true? You think the order is just personal order. Look at what is right, that's okay. You find, you do what it does. Basically, loyalty to what is right. You got loyalty to your peers and team. And you got loyalty to fair team. Then, to the integrity of our law. That was loyalty. I wish y'all all the best. I wish I could watch and make money in the I'm soon. I wish I could get in and watch it. It's great. You're gonna love it. Give yourself to it. Give it a chance. It's a great thing. You work with it without any trust outside. Down the line. 2029, I feel like Godfather and Godfather for you.
Thank you, sir. At this time, I would like to introduce Associate Warden Banu Clark from Northern Nevada Correctional Center, who will be conducting our oath of office. Class, please come to attention. Raise your right hand.
Class, repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States of America and the Constitution and government of the state of Nevada against all enemies, whether domestic or foreign. And that I will bear true faith, allegiance, and loyalty to the same. Of any ordinance, resolution, or law of any state notwithstanding. And that I will faithfully perform all duties of the position of peace officer in the state of Nevada, of which am I about to enter. So help me God.
Thank you, sir. Now is the time we all have waited for. I would like to invite our distinguished guests to the front of their tables for the badge pinning ceremony. I would like to also add to the families and friends in the audience, when you hear your officer's name called, you are more than welcome to come up and take a picture as they're getting their badge pinned. At this time, I will be calling up our newest officers and have them come up and get their badges pinned. Ashley Van Epps, Lovelock Correctional Center. Alex Sandoval, Lovelock Correctional Center. Shaniqua Baker, Northern Nevada Correctional Center. Brian Benjamin, Lovelock Correctional Center. Officer Benjamin will have his badge pinned by his father, Andrew Benjamin, who is a Navy veteran. Gregory Matheny, Lakes Crossing. Damian Woolard, Lovelock Correctional Center. Marvin Quintanilla, Northern Nevada Correctional Center. Justin Langslet, Lakes Crossing. Darren Pulliam, Lovelock Correctional Center. Taro Walker, Lovelock Correctional Center. Clayton Jack, Northern Nevada Correctional Center. Officer Jack will have his badge pinned by his cousin, Kevin Walsh, who is a deputy sheriff for Butte County, California. Class, left face. I would like to have everyone please join me in welcoming our newest peace officers in the state of Nevada. Officers, you may now be seated. It is now my privilege to present our Achievement Awards. Our students qualify with 3 weapons: the Glock 17 and 9mm semi-automatic pistol, a .223 caliber Ruger Mini 14 rifle, and the Penn Arms 40mm launcher. Observed during this class were the aspects of the range to include the following of instructions and following safety fundamentals and guidelines while on a live range. Our Top Shot Award for this class with 100% on the Mini 14 and 100% on the Glock 17 goes to Officer Tara Walker. Our cadets take 4 academic tests and a comprehensive final exam in which they must score at least an 80% to pass. These tests are difficult and cover the full range of topics taught in the 10-week program. This group performed very well, achieving an overall average of 91.1%. The top academic award for this class with an overall average of 96.57% goes to Officer Gregory Matheny. Additionally, we asked the Academy to vote on a class leader, someone who stepped up and helped out others, someone who was not afraid to take control of situations that may have arisen. The Leadership Award for this class is for Officer Gregory Matheny. At this time, Officer Gregory Matheny will present his class speech.
Good morning, everyone, family, friends, instructors, and fellow graduates. When we started this academy, many of us didn't fully grasp the field that we were stepping into. We knew it would be tough and that we would be pushed beyond our limits, but what we didn't know was how much we would come to rely on one another. This academy wasn't just about passing the physical readiness test or completing coursework. It was about transformation. It was about becoming the kind of professionals who can be trusted to act with responsibility, restraint, integrity, and respect. We did it, and we transformed together. There were many sleepless nights as we studied criminology, laws and regulations, and prepared for an endless number of scenarios we were likely to face. We powered through the grueling week of defensive tactics and survived cell extractions. We were bruised, sore, but never broken. We faced every challenge as a unit. When one of us stumbled, everyone reached out a hand to pick us back up again. When one of us doubted ourselves, someone believed in us. We adopted the mindset, if one of us fails, then we all will fail. We found strength in unity, and that's what carried us through this academy. Not everyone can or should do this job. It requires one to hold values of integrity, leadership, and strong critical thinking skills. It requires one to be fast on their feet while navigating through the complexities of any given situation. Our authority may be limited within the walls of our institutions, but the impact of our integrity, our vigilance, and our compassion will ripple far beyond them. The way we carry ourselves in uniform will shape how others see not just us, but the system we serve. As we step into our new roles, remember this: be the change you want to be in the department, whether it's through your work ethic, your attitude, your integrity, or your leadership. Set the tone for the culture you believe in. Now to address our instructors. Thank you for pushing us. Thank you for helping us surpass our limitations and reminding us what it means to lead by example. Thank you for the endless scenarios and, yes, answering all those questions. To our families, thank you for your patience. Thank you for your support, and thank you for your understanding. You stood beside us while we chased something bigger than ourselves. And to my fellow graduates, never forget, fear is a reaction, courage is a decision. Thank you.
During every academy, we ask our cadets to recognize the instructors who have made a meaningful impact on their journey. We are fortunate to have a number of dedicated guest instructors from across the department who contribute their time, knowledge, and experience to ensure our cadets receive the highest quality training. Many of the instructors show up not only on their scheduled work days, but often on their days off, simply because they believe in the mission and the importance of preparing the next generation. Our academic instructor for this academy is Holly Skolstad from the Offender Management Division. Holly is the Correctional Classification and Planning Specialist with the Nevada Department of Corrections. She began her career with the NDOC in March of 2009, initially working in administration and opening the law library at Warm Springs Correctional Center. She promoted to Human Resources in 2010, and in May of 2012, she promoted to Correctional Case Work Specialist at Northern Nevada Correctional Center. While at NNCC, she worked in every classification position, including PREA, and began teaching classes on assessments. In her current capacity as Classification and Planning Specialist, she oversees classification throughout the department. She is passionate about sharing her knowledge with others through teaching and teaches lively classes on grievances, records of offenders, and classification. When not at work, she spends her time playing trivia with her husband and family. Our tactical instructor for this academy is Michael Orzel from Northern Nevada Correctional Center. Officer Orzel has been with the NDOC for 5 years. He is originally from Poland, where he received his black belt in judo and competed for the Polish national team. Officer Orzel received his black belt in jiu-jitsu from Charles Gracie in Reno, Nevada. Officer Orzel enjoys skiing in the winter and traveling with his family whenever he gets the chance. Officer Orzel is currently on a family trip and could not be with us here today, but he wanted to thank this graduating class for the award and wanted to wish you all the very best in your new careers. Thank you both for taking the time to teach our cadets. We greatly appreciate it. So our closing remarks today will be made today by Director James Zarenda. Our director, James Zarenda, started as a correctional officer in Connecticut and worked his way through the ranks, eventually becoming the commissioner for the Connecticut Department of Corrections. He has been responsible for running jails and correctional facilities all over the country, to include New York and Las Vegas. He was the director of the NDOC from 2016 through 2019 and was asked to come back as director by Governor Lombardo in 2023.
All right, first of all, congratulations, and congratulations to the family, too. You're going to be all part of our new family. What I was asked, I graduated the academy as a correction officer in May 15th, 1987. And like what John Osment was mentioning, I joined the department in 1985, and we had no training. There was no such thing. We waited 2 years before you actually went to the academy, because the states didn't want to waste the money on somebody and train somebody and find out you're not going to work for the job. Doesn't happen like that today for a good reason. It's because of court cases, lawsuits, protection of you, protection of the offenders, and protection when you have to really go on the job. What I was asked at the last class down in Las Vegas, the graduating class that's coming out next week, they said, well, since you worked in New York City, you worked in Nassau County as sheriff, you worked in Los Angeles, you worked in Nevada, you worked in North Las Vegas, what is different between the correctional officers in each of those areas, and what is different? And what is different with the offenders, and what is the same? Honestly, I could say it's all the same. As a correction officer, no matter where you are, you're trained to be professional, you're trained to be emergency responders, and you're trained to be a role model and good person so that you could teach those that have been either rejected in the community, failed in the community, did bad choices in the community under our care. You are now the responsible to be able to monitor, make sure they're safe, but also be role models for them when they get out. What they see you do every day as professionals really plays an impact on their lives as too. They remember that, and they remember when you're not professional. And when the other thing they asked me what is the most important advice you can give to a correction officer, which there is no one important advice, but what I could say is what I always did, which I recommend that everybody does. You never wing it when you're working in a housing unit or working on the job. When you get into a housing unit and you're working, the first thing you do, you're trained to check, make sure you have all your keys, they're all not broken, they're all working condition. You check your chemical agent, you check all the tools you have, you make sure you have accountability of everyone in the unit. The next thing you should do, and you need to do, is think of the future. What ifs? What if there's a fire? What do you do? What if there's a fight? Where do I go? Who do I call? What's my role? You never wing it in a unit, because then you're in trouble, your partners are in trouble, and the offenders are in trouble, because you can never think of a bad situation and think about how to react to it unless you're in your mind, you know how you're going to react to it when it actually happens. So always try to remember that. Think about response. Think about what to do if. And think about every crazy scenario you could think of, because you will come across every crazy scenario that happens. The other thing I want to make sure it's important for me to tell you is respect the badge, respect your uniform. I'll guarantee, and I tell this to all the classes, I guarantee you, your neighbors, they probably will have no idea who you are, your names, but they'll know where you work. They know what your job is based upon what your uniform is and your badge. Anything you do in the public's eye is a perception of all of us. So if you do well, we're a great team together. You do bad, they look at all your partners and all the agencies as you're horrible, you're a bad person, so you all must be bad. You respond in the public as representatives of all us. So just remember, respect your badge, respect your uniform, and know where you work. And remember, people are always watching you. Now that you're in the uniform, trust me, they're watching you. Anyway, congratulations to all of you. Congratulations to the family and friends. Great career. I'm glad I'm where I am. Never would have done anything different, and I'll guarantee you, as long as you work hard, you do what you're supposed to do, follow procedures, you're going to love what you do too. Anyway, congratulations to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your inspiring words. As we bring this ceremony to a close, I want to take a moment to acknowledge not only our graduates, but the families and loved ones who have stood by them through these past 10 intense weeks. Let's be honest, you probably heard about all the early mornings, the constant drills, the never-ending runs, and yes, the complaints that came with them, but you never wavered. To the spouses, parents, children, and friends, thank you. Thank you for your patience, your encouragement, and for enduring the sore muscles, the ice packs, the Advil runs, and the occasional questioning of life choices. Your support has been just as vital to this journey as the training itself. To our graduates, you've earned this moment. Breathe it in. Be proud. But know this, your journey doesn't end here. It's just the beginning. Ahead of you are long shifts, sleepless nights, missed holidays, and more overtime than you're probably bargained for. But with it comes something more important, purpose. You stepped into a role that is as demanding as it is essential. The badge you now wear comes with responsibility, sacrifice, and an unwavering commitment to serve. There will be days when the job feels heavy, when stress, fatigue, and frustration set in. But always remember, you are not in this alone. Lean on your fellow officers, rely on your training, and never forget the people waiting for you at home, the ones who had your back from day one. Make time for them and take care of yourself too. This profession isn't for the faint of heart. It's tough, it's real, but so are you. You didn't choose this career because it was easy, you chose it because it matters. You are now part of a brotherhood and sisterhood that forms the backbone of our justice system, often unseen, but immensely vital. Congratulations, class. Stay sharp, stay strong, and always look out for each other, so at the end of every shift, we all make it home. At this time, I would like to have everyone stand for the retrieval of our colors. Have them stand. Not yet. One. Class attention.
Detail roll. Honor Guard uniform staff, present arms. Order arms. Retrieve colors. Left face. Forward march.
Class, congratulations, you're officially dismissed.